All right. And we're live. Back at it. It's DJ Falling Up G with Best Friends Jangle Dangles. Not dropping it yet. Perhaps there will be some magic again, or maybe not. At least this weekend we're getting together to play some magic, so, there's the spirit of the magic screen names living on. But back to talk music. More enjoyable than Pioneer lately. Competitive magic. So this time around, we've been listening to this one for a little while. The Hands That Thieve by Streetlight Manifesto. It took a while for me to digest this one, so I'm glad gave it some real time. Like we usually do, kick things off with an intro. I'll start because mine will be really short, which is I didn't know anything about Streetlight Manifesto. And you threw this out here. I think you said they were ska, so I knew that I was getting into something that was going to be pretty new to me. I wasn't like, oh, this is going to be something in my wheelhouse or whatever. I knew Knocked Loose was hardcore metalcore or whatever, so I knew there'd be some real overlap there with it, even though I'd never listened to Knocked Loose, and I figured it might be a different flavor than what I listened to typically. I knew, okay, I listened to this kind of stuff. Whereas with this, I was like, I never have listened to anything that I would consider ska. I think there's maybe, now that I've listened to it more, a very slight. I see very slight overlap with some artists, but nothing that's exactly like this. It was fun to attempt to draw some parallels that there weren't that many to draw for it in what they really are. Reliant K, maybe it was perhaps closest, because that's the punk element.
Oh, yeah, I could see that.
Reliant K. There's some stuff on there and if then this actually makes me think you would like that album more than you thought you would. I mean, I know there's a lot more to this than just the punk, but when we talk through it, we'll see if the punk is some of what you're liking here. But yeah, so I had very little idea of what to expect. Didn't really know what a full album of ska, what that listening experience would be. So that's how I went into it.
Yeah. So I was recommended these guys during a time in which I was listening to almost exclusively really technical metal. Okay, which I think actually should give some interesting context. So. Yeah,
I see a lot of overlap with the listening experience with technical metal. Yeah.
So the time that I was listening to this, Between the Buried and Me, was probably my favorite band, and I was listening to a lot of stuff in that vein. And I got recommended this band, and I was like, ska. And I've literally never spent any significant amount of time with any other ska band, other than to this day. Than these guys. It's not like I've never been interested in ska, to be honest. Just okay, punk music but with horns. All right. I don't know. I'm good. But these guys, they're just they're like the Between the Buried and Me of ska music, I think. They're like, what if we did it, but we did it to the highest level with the best melodies and tons of emotion, great songwriting, and that's at least how I look at them. They're really what if we did ska but just did it to the absolute highest standard. It's funny because I got so into these guys 10 years ago or whatever. It didn't make me listen to any more ska music. I was just like, well, this is it. This is all the ska music I need. I don't need,
That's funny.
This is as good as it gets, so I'm good. It didn't necessarily make me want to get into ska, but
interesting.
Maybe I've neglected that. Maybe there probably are other good ska bands out there, but
I wouldn't know, but I assume there are.
What's that?
I said I wouldn't know, but I would assume there are.
Yeah, right. I wouldn't know either. I haven't looked. And I wish I knew, to be honest, I wish I knew my friend that recommended these guys to me. I wish I knew how he found them, because they're really not a super well-known band. In the right circles or whatever, they're very well regarded, but they're not super well known. They're from St. Louis, Missouri.
Oh, wow.
And
common
but
roots.
They're actually not a band anymore.
Yeah, right, because this came out in 2013.
Yep. Yeah, which is very disappointing to me, because I would would have been really interested to see where they went. But yeah, this definitely came at a time in my life where I was very interested in emotional and complex music, both together. And I think
Wait, so were you listening to them around when this came out in 2013?
Yeah, pretty close to it. Yeah.
Okay, we'll get into that too, but we'll get into this as we talk. But like that makes sense from a lyrical standpoint too.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I've got some things to say about some specific songs lyrically.
Yeah.
I've got some anecdotes for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you wanna jump in on track one, or you want me to jump in with?
Sure. Yeah. I can start us off. So yeah, the three of us.
The three of us. Most played song on the album. I see by a lot, which is kind of surprising. But
for you or on?
Oh, sorry, on Spotify. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, that doesn't surprise me, but
yeah,
also
track
like
one.
Yeah, I mean, as we get into it, I'll kind of like, spoiler alert, I guess. I feel like I wouldn't have been surprised at just about any of them being the most played song. Like, I think these guys are very consistent. For me, there's not like, and that's one thing I like about this album. There's not like a lot of standout low moments for me. It's
that makes sense.
Yeah.
I see that.
And yeah, but so to focus on this song, yeah, it starts off with a bang. It's immediate, like fast headbangy guitar riffs and fun brass section immediately.
Yeah,
definitely shows off their like brass capabilities, which like yeah is just something I respect so much about this band, is just like the melodies that they play in the brass section and the way they're woven into basically punk rock music. It just seems so seamless and feels so good. I also love the guitar solo portion in the second half of the song, which they don't. The guitar is not often a highlight in their music.
It's mixed
kind
pretty low, which stood out to me at first. Like I was bugged by it at first, but then I realized I wasn't supposed to be paying that close attention to the guitar, basically.
Yeah, the guitar is almost like another percussive element quite often. But in this song, they actually have
I can't even think of what you're referring to as the guitar solo, but it's probably because there's so much to take in all the time.
Yeah,
I honestly felt like I was still learning parts of the album. I'm probably listening to the album. I'd like to think at least like 20 times, because I would like even more than usual. I mean, a lot of it was like I put it on some, like it wasn't all the active listening version, but like I just could tell I needed as many reps as I could get, so I'd play it while like working and stuff, just to like really get a feel for it. I definitely like know the core melodies and stuff, but I still feel like on the 20th listen it was like a part of a song would be like, oh, whoa, I don't remember how cool this part was,
Yeah, I mean,
because there's just so many parts of every song where cool intricate stuff's going on, so it's like just a lot to absorb.
Yeah, and they're very consistent with that. Like there's in that you could even maybe I'm spoiling something else, but you could even maybe look at that as a detriment to some degree, as far as like maybe there's less defining characteristics of songs because they're all so complex, and they all just kind of do their own thing. There's less like there could you could argue that there's maybe some degree of, well, if everything is crazy then nothing is crazy,
right?
But no, there is actually a pretty neat little guitar
I'm gonna take it. I'm sure I'll hear it and be like, oh, that part, duh. But like,
and it's just so it gets so like it's such a jam sesh in the second half of the song. It's just like,
well, also just the first, like after that first chorus, like there's an immediate like minute, maybe not minute, but like 45-second just jam that's like really good. It's maybe one of my actual favorites on the whole album. Is that like
Yeah.
first minute of the song, basically.
It's great. Yeah.
I felt
And
like listening to it was like, so this is what these guys are about. You know, it just hits you
Yep.
right away. It's like, all right, I'm in
Yeah,
it.
this is very much like a quintessential Streetlight song. It's um, yeah. I'm super into it. I love this song. It almost made my highlights, but
Mm.
it was really hard for me to pick highlights because I I really
I
like
kind
a
of thought
lot
you
of
might
this
say
album.
that.
But yeah, this one was extremely close, but didn't quite make the highlights.
Okay. Yeah, I pretty immediately was like, this is a good track one. Feel like I could tell what they're about. Definitely grabs your attention right away. Really love the jamming out in this song, which there's jamming out in every song basically. Just yeah, I think pretty much every song. That's like one of the first things that is just we're already talking about with the first song, but referencing in others, where it's just like they just go crazy and don't hold back, and when the like horns, when the wind instruments come in, it's like super fun. They just like let it be a jam for a while, and I really love when that's incorporated into music. Like it's definitely they're they're definitely doing it like all the time. It's like the main thing they're doing all the time, you know, other than verses and choruses. But like it's generally they're like I pretty much like every jam session. It's just that there are a lot of them, like, and I do feel like with this song, and we're gonna do it with the next few. Sometimes it's just a lot. Like I mean, like I said, and that's not that's like not a criticism per se, but it is like a depending on the type of music you want to be listening to and how much brain power you have for it and stuff. It is sort of like a version of a limitation of just like how much of this can I take in like a still relatively short amount of time for like getting ready for an album review like this. It's like I listened to it a ton and like I said, still feel like I'm learning, which is like I would say that's like two sides of the same coin. Some of that's really fun, and I think like music is just such a dynamic thing. Like doing these album reviews are a very tricky exercise for probably they're a lot easier for the one of us that has known the thing for years, I think, and then a lot harder for the one of us who's like having to try to form an opinion even when we have 2 months, because that's still like not a super long amount of time for especially work this complicated. So they're packing a lot in. But yeah, I think this is a strong start. I really love the jam sessions. I really like the verses, the choruses. Fun, but not like an amazing chorus for me. Like I feel like they hit the chorus hard in this song, and it's like not the highlight of the song for me. But yeah, I think it's a really good start. It didn't make my highlights either, but it was amongst the songs that was kind of like, is it a highlight? Is it not a highlight?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like, yeah, they do really have like almost a jam session in every song. It seems like.
Yeah, and I guess that depends on what you define as a jam session, and maybe
right.
like solos are. I'm kind of counting like versions of solos as little jam sessions for just one or two of the people in the band or whatever, you know.
Right.
I think there's either a definitive jam session or a definitive like solo type thing of an instrument in every song. Like like there's not that many songs that aren't fast paced.
Yeah.
So.
True. Yep. But yeah, yeah, I don't know. I think this song and a lot of these songs, they really like. I don't know. I think they make very memorable melodies and very memorable like runs with the brass section. Like for me,
yeah, the brass sections.
I remember like the melodies, the brass melody runs. I remember those like more than the lyrics in their songs.
Yep.
And like when a song comes on, I'm like singing, whatever it is, like I'm humming those
They're
along.
really good.
More
They're
than
really
I'm
good. Yeah, and
singing
this
the
one
lyrics.
has yeah, the three of us has really good one too. I do the beginning one, that beginning like horn section, wind instrument section, whatever the right thing to call it, brass section. I don't know. I kept being like, what's the right way to describe this? But that beginning one is like one of my absolute favorites, where they just immediately are like going super hard.
yeah.
And then the transition from that into the first verse, because the verses have a lot of energy in a lot of the songs, but in the Three of Us, the verses are like really catchy and upbeat. I really like the little story of the lyrics in this song too. I think I'll circle back to the lyrics on this song because there's something that I feel like kind of enlightened me to it a little bit better, but that I want to reference a little later. That was like a bigger picture thing about the album. But yeah, the lyrics are pretty cool on this song, and I feel like they're pretty immediately touching on themes of just like worldview, I guess, and like life experience. And we'll expand on that more.
Yeah, that's a good way of summing up like a lot of the album's lyrics.
Yeah. All right. Well, then the next one's Ungrateful. This for I'll talk about my current opinion of the song, but like first time listening to it, it's always fun to hear like the first time. Like this is where I feel like the first song finished and the second song started. And I was like, oh, it's just still going. Okay, it's just like the pace is not. There's like, if anything, the pace. I thought the first one was going to be like, because it starts off with such a bang and like it's such a, obviously like a rock version of like a fast-paced rock version of like the ska thing, the punk rock thing with ska they're doing, that I thought maybe I was like, what's next? Oh, it's the same pace, or even faster paced probably, much more like angry punk vibe. And I would say that it's still true, like it's grown on me more, but it's like it's not the like this song, like my favorite part of the song is like the jam session. That's kind of the bridge. I really like the bridge in this song. It's really good. But like how it's got like the very like shouty verses, this one's like this one. I think this song on the album is actually like max chaos factor on the album. Just like the verses into the chorus, it's just really like the drum beats really fast the whole time. It feels like he's basically doing like a shout version of it. Like the lyrics are not very discernible, like relative to the other songs, and it's not my favorite thing. Like this song actually reminds me of Reliant K a little bit, and I think this just touches on a theme that I can just say now, and it's not like I hated it, but his voice isn't like my favorite. Mostly because I feel like he's kind of doing the same thing with his voice for most of the album. Like he doesn't like, he's doing the like punk rock voice he has, and I feel like he could maybe do more. But in this song, it's like kind of hard. It's like this is like my least favorite vocal performance on the album, even though I think he's doing exactly what he wants to be doing. It just isn't my cup of tea. It's like it sounds rough around the edges and angry-ish, but like also playful-ish with like the vibe, and then it's just moving along real fast. And and the chorus on this one doesn't like hit super hard for me. Like there's, you saying like they write really good melodies, and I know you're talking about like partially the wind instrument stuff, but also like I feel like this is an album for me where definitely like the choruses, some of them connected really big for me and some of them didn't as much, and this is one that like the chorus didn't hook me as much, and it is ultimately like a verse chorus bridge chorus song. So it's like, there's a chance this is my least favorite song on the album. It's kind of like probably bottom 2 for me.
This is I mean, I'm actually right there with you on that. Okay. I think this is probably my least favorite on the album. But yeah, just to throw it out there, you're touching on the vocals. I actually listed the vocals as one of the weaknesses.
Oh, okay. Well, let's just highlight that because I have that as one of my weaknesses
I think it's my first weakness. Let's see. But the vocals are not for everybody. They're not. He doesn't have like a beautiful singing voice. He's got this like raspy, like gravelly kind of voice, and he's kind of like shouting-ish most of the time. And you're right, it's very consistent. He's very much like, this is what I'm doing in almost every song.
Yeah, it's almost like it reminds me of Knocked Loose a little. It's like I like it in some of the cases, and in other times I'm like, I kind of wish you just went a little different direction, and I would have connected more with that part of the song or something.
I would like, I'd be interested to hear like, what if he tried to be more, of a crooner on this song or whatever, like just like try a different technique, because he really does like kind of do the same thing all the time. And I mean, what it comes down to for me personally is that the vocals just aren't a highlight, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
I definitely, I listed it as a weakness for a reason. Like, the vocals are like the most important thing for a lot of people, and I don't think they're like the strongest point of this band by by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, they're like, you know, as I was trying to formulate all my thought, I feel like the vocals are, they're like, in half the songs, I'm totally okay with them. That like that, so they're like this weird they're like a qualified version of a weakness, where there's like most of the time I like feel like they're doing what makes sense for the vocals to be doing in the song and for the lyrics and for the energy they're trying to convey. There's just like times where I'm like, but could he have done something different here, or like where it's just like I feel like the vibe I get is that he's like, this is the type of vocal I do, and I feel like maybe that's all he was capable of doing, or maybe it was just that's the style they're going for and they wanted to just do that style for every song. I sort of feel like that's the choice there. It's like the stylistic choice as opposed to a talent and capability choice.
Right. I think it is a stylistic choice, and like even if it is a stylistic choice, it is kind of like, but it'd be nice if you like challenged yourself.
Right. That's
did something different.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I definitely think that's. It's weird because sitting here, I'm like, okay, would I change the vocals if I could about this band? I mean, I wouldn't change them in every song, but
right.
Yeah,
I agree with that. Yeah,
but like I like them and they fit the music, but it's almost like a just because of the nature of the music and the nature of the style and the style of vocals, I almost think of it more as like drums in other bands. It's like, okay, yeah, it's like fitting the music really well. You know?
I think it is,
but it doesn't always. It still could be. It still leaves you wanting.
Right. I think we're used to, we just did Ben Howard, we've done Jesse or Bordy, like vocalists who are talented, and I don't know the most about this guy or the band or whatever, I'm pretty new to it all, but like I get if you're the vocalist to a band that has, tens of millions of plays, you're clearly singing for part of your living. Like I get the sense that he's probably capable of doing more than he does on the album, and that it was more artistic choice that led down the road that is this album. And like, we're both here saying like we don't think it was like a totally wrong choice or anything. It really feels like he picked a lane and stuck to it the whole time, essentially, like 98% of the time. And like that might have been the right lane to pick for the album for 75% of the time, but there's still like the 20% that's like do a few different other things in there for the sake of changing it up sometime. I think could have benefited. And Ungrateful is actually a funny one to be taught because he actually is doing kind of a little bit of a different thing on Ungrateful. Like there's a little bit more like shouty and fast paced than most of the other songs.
True.
But it's still he's kind of always in the I feel like this word is harsher than the word that I would mean for it to be, but like there's like a monotone element to his voice in this album, like Knocked Loose. Like I don't think Knocked Loose's guy's voice is bad or anything. He's just kind of doing almost the same thing most of the time.
Yeah.
And,
totally.
And actually, I think that's actually true. Like, just to call out, like, I think that's true of like Era's screamer. That's like a thing I've seen criticized about him. A lot of time, his scream is like in this certain range, and it's like that the vast majority of the time. JT Covey, I think is his name. Like, and I really like his scream. So it's like, and I thought the Knocked Loose. So it's like not saying any of these are bad. It's just like it's nice when there's more variability. And I feel like that's a thing JT's gotten better at. Like if you go and listen to Neon, his scream is like the same scream for like the whole album basically, other than a very few parts, but he gets a lot better at like doing lows and doing some fry screams and stuff. And it's not like he does those insanely often, but he mixes them in, and he actually sings some. He like sings the chorus of Pale Iris with his like scratchy singing voice. He sings some other parts. I think he sings in End to Excess a little bit, some like songs that are some of my favorite of their songs. So just mixing it up a bit is like huge, just to give certain sections a little bit of a different feel. And I feel like this album is an example of one where like he basically never mixes it up, and it's like, I could go for some differentiation.
Yep. Totally agree. The one thing I'll say before we leave the topic of vocals, one thing that I really like about the vocals, and this is throughout the album, including on this song, is I love the backing like gang vocals.
Yeah, I do like when they use the gang vocals.
The harmonies that they do. It's all over the place, and it really like it gives a nice. It kind of rounds out his raspy monotone and makes it feel a lot better and more emotional when they get those like gang harmonies in the background.
Yep. No, that's a really good call.
Love that. That is one thing with the vocals that I love that they but I totally agree with everything you're saying. Like, yeah, the vocals, I do wish he like tried some different stuff, was varied it up a little bit, because it honestly, it kind of just gets drowned out by the rest of the music.
Yeah.
A lot of the time, I think his vocals become like a afterthought compared to what else is going on. So,
yep.
Yeah.
Well, it's actually a decent segue. Hopefully, I'm not cutting. I think you're at the end of your train of thought there into the next song, because I actually think the next song is one where his voice works really well in The Littlest Things. What do you think of The Littlest Things?
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, I think his voice does work well in this one. I love this song. This song's great. The like, I don't know, the way the intro like melody is like almost like intimidating, mysterious kind of. It just feels like intriguing. And then yeah, I mean, this song, I don't know. It showcases like it feels like a classic Streetlight song. Like it's everything they're good at, but it feels very I don't know how to describe it. I like, yeah, the chorus of this one is really nice, and the vocals are great, and you know, it just, I don't know. It hits.
Yeah, it's a good one. Yeah,
I don't know why I'm like at a loss for words right now.
Yeah, I think the first couple listens to the album, The Littlest Things was a song I thought was like maybe my favorite song on the album. It didn't land there. It didn't quite make my highlights, but again, it was kind of in the mix of songs that I was like, are those highlights? And I ended up picking like a few others that I thought were like a cut above at the end of the day. But I like this one. I think like this one, the energy, it's carrying like the energy forward again. That was so like early listening experience of like going from the three of us to Ungrateful to The Littlest Things definitely was like pretty relentless, pretty in your face the whole time, pretty big, loud, and yeah, just like, so kind of was getting tired. I like being like, oh, I need like a break to breathe a little bit, I'll say, but like I'm a little more used to it now. But I don't think the pacing of the beginning is like perfect in that regard. I feel like they start like with three of the like fastest paced tracks of the entire album, maybe like the three fastest paced of the whole album, and like heaviest, if you will, all at once. But this is like was the one that early on was like, oh, this is my favorite one. I feel like they're getting into a groove, and with this one in particular, yeah, I like the chorus. I think it has like a good chorus on the album for sure. My favorite part of the song though actually is the way they end it. They like all of a sudden like, because it kind of sets up the break that I feel like I needed after like the first three tracks of all the energy and like so many big, wind instrument sections and stuff. And then the end, they just go to like just an acoustic little like strumming and like his voice kind of muffled singing in the background. So it is actually one of the times where he does mostly his normal vocal thing, but then the end there's like a little bit of background like singing, like a little muffled singing over acoustic guitar. And I think it's like the perfect way to end it. Really love that ending, and then it transitions really well into the next song too, which is the title track, "The Hands That Thieve." Anything else you want to say on The Littlest Things? Should we talk?
Yeah, I mean, you covered it pretty well. Yeah, the ending is great. Like, and it just feels very like, it feels very complete to me as a kind of a story, a movement, and then like the ending definitely like wraps it up well, and it is nice to hear them in a little bit different light after all the bombardment of fast, semi-angry sounding, and like Ungrateful being like, I kind of forgot to point this out, but we pretty much touched on it. But like, I think Ungrateful is probably like the punkiest sounding song on the album.
It's very punk.
And then into this one, which is much less so, and the ending especially, like rounds it out really nicely.
Yeah, and then the first time listening to the album, and this is still pretty true, but it was like immediately obvious first time that like the ending was like this little breathing, but then I was like, what's gonna happen after this? And then it just goes into like the acoustic guitar beginning, The Hands That Thieve, and I like, it was probably one of those moments where I like smiled and I was like, yes, this is what I needed right now. And then they keep it acoustic because they started, I think Ungrateful starts kind of like, it has this little like, slow little beginning, but then all of a sudden it's like boom, punch you in the mouth, big riff, big horn section or whatever. But with the Hands That Thieve, they keep it acoustic. They keep it. It's still like
Mm-hmm.
fast paced. Like the tempo is fast, but it's giving you room to breathe. It's just like a guy and acoustic guitar and percussion going on for a little bit. Like, and it's really
I
catchy. It's the
yeah.
perfect. It's exactly what the album needed at that moment. Like, it really helps break up that pretty intense. And like the songs are all long too. We haven't mentioned that. It's like the three of us is
Yeah.
almost 5.5 minutes. Ungrateful's 4.5 minutes. The Littlest Thing's almost 5 minutes. So like practically 15 minutes in of just like getting slammed by the
Right.
complexity and the
It's
speed.
only a 10-song album and it's 50 minutes.
Yeah.
So they're average 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're all pretty lengthy. Yeah. But no, I totally agree with you. Like the acoustic is used extremely well in this album. That was a good thing to throw out there. And like that's actually something that they didn't do as much before this album.
Interesting.
And especially once we get to some of the later songs is like something that is a reason I often like when I'm first showing Streetlight to people, I often show them this album as opposed to the other one, which I maybe like more. Part of that is like the acoustic and the I don't know, just the feel that it brings, the more accessibility and more comforting feel, I guess, and just and
yeah, it just feels a little slower. Yeah,
a little bit of a
little easier to
break
digest.
from their
Yeah,
typical bombard of just fast paced and definitely love it and love how this song flows into the next one for sure.
yeah, and this the end of this song too is really fun. Like I feel like it basically I feel like this song it kind of changes up the like loudness level, the intensity level, and it kind of changes up the song structure too. It's a thing that like as we keep talking through the songs, I'll mention it with some other songs, but like one of the things that I think is like I called it out as a weakness. I'll just say it now. Like I called it out as a weakness, and we'll come up with it. Is like I feel like they don't explore non-traditional song structure. Like they like are non-traditional in the sense that they have way more solos and jams mixed in, but they're actually mostly doing verse chorus, bridge chorus with those solos and jams mixed in. And I wish that they like. There's times where I feel like they return to a chorus, and I don't think they needed to, and I think it would have been a better way to cap off a song or end a part than returning to a chorus. And this is a song that's a great example of where they didn't do it, and I think it's like a beautiful payoff. Like I love the ending part of this song. Again, the gang vocal part towards the end where he's like yelling. Lyrics on the song are really good too. I really like the lyrics on this one. So yeah, I think it's a really satisfying ending, and they.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, yeah, I was just gonna think the end is just really fun. The like verses and chorus are really like I really like the chorus in the song. It has probably one of my favorite choruses on the album, but they like don't go back to it for a third time. They let the song end with this like really fun crescendo gang vocal part. So yeah, it's a really good one.
Yeah, the ending to this song is beautiful, and yeah, as you said, it flows really well into the next one. The way it ends so softly and then goes right into a nice little acoustic part for the opening of the next song is great. But yeah, no, that was a really salient point to me about how none of their songs are actually that like weird structurally. They really are verse chorus pretty much. They just have injected jam sessions in between. I always think of them as such like a when I'm listening to it, it doesn't for me at least, it doesn't listen like a standard structure type album. When you're listening through it, it feels complex. It feels like they're diverting, but really they are relatively simple structured. They just throw in these portions where they go off.
And I think the part that makes it feel like it's fitting into the like standard song structure box for me often is the return to the third chorus. They do that. That's the like I think verse chorus, bridge, where the verses are like pretty different and the choruses sometimes like then you just are kind of mostly just have like two choruses that are like one repeated part, and you can play a lot with that and it isn't very cliche. But once you put the third chorus in at the end, that's when it's like, okay, I have to like have loved the chorus, or it has to really fit the mood. And I feel like a lot of times they're doing pretty cool things after the second chorus, but then just end up back at the chorus again.
Right, and like we don't always need that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like they kind of do. We actually haven't. There's a few songs that I'll mention that they do that for that are coming up that like where I wish they didn't basically. But like the closest one of the ones we talked through so far is the three of us. Like I feel like the three of us, the chorus is probably my least favorite part of the song, and they like end with the chorus again when I don't think they needed to. Um, it doesn't. It's not. That's like that one. I like the chorus enough. It didn't really bother me with that one in particular. But this one's a great example of where like I really don't think they needed to go back to the chorus, and they didn't, and I'm glad they didn't.
Yeah, no, that's a good comment. Like it's definitely something I feel like for some reason I've thought of the song structure less with these guys, and I think it's just because I get so fixated on the go off parts, you know.
Yeah.
But
which is
yeah,
reasonable because they do, and like that makes it really dynamic.
Yeah, and you know, I think there are times too when they come back to that third chorus, and I'm happy about it, and it feels like a nice resolution after all the chaos that they just did a jam session for 45 seconds or whatever, and then they come back to the third chorus, and I'm like, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But other times, I agree, like it's not it feels unnecessary, or like there just could have been a better choice. Like I don't need this chorus again. And a lot of times the choruses are not my favorite parts of these songs. That's
Right.
pretty true of like almost the whole album for
Yeah.
me.
I would say it's
the choruses
true
are not
of a good number
they're
of the
not
songs.
like
Yeah.
writing these super catchy hooks. That's not their thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So no, that's a good point.
Yeah. All right. Well, after the Hands That Thieve is With Any Sort of Certainty. Another a really they on a run of, because I loved the beginning of the Hands That Thieve. I really like the beginning on this one right away. It's because it's like a little electric guitar thing that's like, again, setting it apart from kind of what we've heard so far. Like it's an immediately memorable beginning relative to the rest of the album so far, which is pretty fun. What do you think of this one?
Wait, so are you talking about
With any
Hands
sort
That
of,
Thieve?
with
With
any
any
sort,
sort of okay,
yeah.
yeah. Sorry, I got mixed up. Yeah, I love this song, and actually, what stands out to me more than anything about this song is the lyrics.
Yeah, it has really good lyrics.
And this song, like, I like, especially the time of my life that I was listening to this album. This song really hit for me just because I was going through a period of leaving religion, and that's like exactly what this song is, discussing.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I find this song really meaningful, and also like a jam for sure.
Yeah.
Just like pretty much the whole album. But
yeah.
I find that like when Streetlight hits that perfect, like when they get both, when it's like, oh, this is a melodic jam and it feels good, and then it's also meaningful lyrics.
Mm-hmm.
So like I already feel like I feel a lot of emotion in a lot of their melodies, especially like the brass section, horn, wind, whatever you want to call it. But when it's coupled by like a meaningful message that you can relate to, it just like really hits for me. And like this song is a perfect example of that, and it just like it still gives me chills to this day. So yeah, I mean,
yeah, and I think their lyrics is one of the like pretty clear strengths of the album, like amidst others. But like that stood out to me.
I think it's a big highlight
as I digested the songs. Yeah, and this is one of like definitely one of my, like the Hands That Thieve is also really fun. The Three of Us. Yeah, this one there's some ones coming up too that are really good. But yeah, they really like somehow, like I was trying to find a way to distill the like types of things they're talking about into like a quick sentence. It's like they're talking about pretty heady big things, I feel like, in a lot of songs, like just like, borderline meaning of life type stuff, how we carry ourselves in our like interactions with other people, like learning as part of like life's journey, and then belief systems, religion. And it's like they're pretty clear with what message they're trying to send, but it doesn't feel preachy or cliche to me. And maybe that's because I am inclined to agree with it, but most of the time. But yeah, they're definitely pretty well executed in terms of like avoiding feeling super stereotypical.
I agree. I don't
when
think
it's
like, for example, with this song, with any sort of certainty, it's clearly like speaking against religion, but it doesn't feel, I agree, it doesn't feel like preachy. It doesn't feel like overly like angry or like
yeah. Well, and the chorus is even like
diminutive to.
I want to believe, basically. Like,
Yeah,
but
yeah, exactly. Yeah, like it feels respectful and
yeah,
genuinely
basically saying
curious about
like
the world, and yeah,
I intellectually can't get on board with this, but like I would love to be able to.
yeah,
Just like
exactly.
a more earnest and vulnerable place than just saying like I don't agree with you or whatever, or like I don't believe those things, etc. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for
this is
sure.
definitely one of my highlights early on too. Like I felt the early stretch for me of like this album of what stood out was like track 3 to 4 to 5 early on, and
Mm.
um,
Yep.
yeah, the so 4 and 5 have like definitely continued to stand out as top highlights. And this one, it has like the moody little eerie interlude kind of towards the middle, or almost
Yeah.
it's like before the third chorus. So this is actually one I like the chorus in this song so much that I found it like pretty unobjectionable to go back to it. But like
Yeah, this is probably one of my
first
favorite
time
choruses.
listening
Yeah.
to the album, first couple times, I definitely thought the song like after the second chorus, it goes into like, do you know the part where it's like pretty like it sounds like there's like it's like playing like don't, and it's like in the background, kind of distant sounding, and then
Oh
like
yeah.
and it's kind of feels like you're getting further and further away from the instruments, and they're sounding kind of eerie and moody, and I just thought it was gonna like blend that out, and I thought that was gonna be a super cool outro, and then like it just goes back to the chorus, which is like, okay, I like the chorus, I'm not like too
Yeah,
upset, but
but
it
the
was like
way it comes back is kind of cool.
yeah.
No, yeah, but I feel you though. Yeah.
It was just like, oh, they almost like did a really cool, interesting outro, and then ended up just being like in kind of the just like a bridge. And yeah, like I still like the part, but it's kind of another example of where they
Yeah.
go back to the chorus
But,
again.
I
But
mean, and I, in defense of that, like last chorus, it does get to a part where like the music is gone and it's just kind of like a stomping, like
yes, I like that part.
the
Yep.
chanting vocals of the
Yeah.
chorus. Yeah,
I think in
like
this song, it's good. It's fine to good because the chorus is so good, and the way they do the last chorus is particularly fun.
yeah,
But I did think the song was ending, and I thought it was gonna. I was like, "This is a really cool ending."
yeah,
I think I literally had that thought the first time listening to the album. And then the chorus came back. I was like, "Oh wait, what?"
yeah. That's fair. Yeah. Yeah, this is one of my highlights too, and like as far as strengths go, I definitely. I wonder if I'm trying to look at my strengths. Let's see. I think I've maybe talked about all of them at this point.
Yeah, we talked a lot about the brass stuff. I probably should have
Yeah,
put that as a
pretty much
strength.
talked about all of them.
Okay, come.
Yeah, but the last
Yeah.
strength that I listed is very much what we were just talking about. Like, despite music that often sounds whimsical, like especially just like this style of music, you don't necessarily expect deep lyrics. At least I wouldn't. Maybe other people would. I don't know.
Interesting.
But yeah, like the topics that they're dealing with are heavy and heady and interesting and relatable, and yeah, it adds a ton to the album for sure. It's kind of funny that I put complex song structures on here, and then you pretty much like corrected me on that. I mean,
I think that's where it like the semantics of what we're talking about, because the songs aren't, what's the opposite of complex? Simple. The songs aren't simple, right?
yeah,
Like they're very clearly not simple, but I don't think the structure. I think you could argue a version that the structure is complex in the sense that they're injecting complicated instrumentation at unpredictable times, but they
right.
ultimately do like verse chorus
What it
chorus
boils
things.
down to, yeah, if we're talking about song structure, it's really not complex. There are complex portions
right
of each of almost every song. There's like,
I think actually every song,
probably every song, yeah. But yeah, if you're looking at it zooming out and looking at the structure, it's really not that complex. Yeah, so that's interesting.
Yeah.
Could have worded that differently. But yeah, I mean, I guess two to my point that I originally was trying to make there, it does like stand out in that way for sure. Like every song you're getting something like to really chew on.
Yeah.
Even if the song as a whole does have like a relatively simple structure. You're
Mm-hmm.
getting at least a portion of every song where it's like, whew,
Yeah.
this is a heater. There's a lot
Yeah.
going on here.
That was I had that as a bullet point too. Is that literally every song has a sequence I love, even the ones that ultimately, like I said, like Ungrateful, one of my like bottom one or two songs, but like I love the bridge. So
Yeah.
yeah, they're giving you something every time for sure. What did I put here?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'll get to that point later. What did I get to any of these? Oh yeah, what? So I put like the in my what stands out, just like wind instruments are on full display, which isn't common amongst any other band I ever listened to. So it obviously stands out. Uh, Up energy and up tempo. Yeah, I was just realizing we probably talked about this a lot since we're halfway into the album now. So I'll just reveal
Oh
a few
yeah.
mine. Anything in your what stand should I unhighlight or yeah.
You can yeah. I
Yeah,
feel
you
like
said punk rock, but it may oh yeah, we basically
I will admit sometimes I feel like I have trouble differentiating between what stands out and strengths. So I feel like that
that's
might have
fair.
been a bit
Yeah, I
redundant
don't know.
here,
Maybe I just should take out one of those sections so we have to
but
write less. What stands out is supposed to be like my just like impressions, basically,
yeah,
which
okay, yeah.
often ties to strengths because those are the things that stand out the most. But it's sort of like boiling it down and giving the more like emotional reaction side of it rather than the like
Sure.
more analytical side, I get.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's keep going then, because we to the next song. Because now, so with the next song, I feel like we get into kind of almost feels like a section two of the album for me. I don't know. I feel like it's like kind of two sections a little bit. I just feel like the bottom five, the like back half of the album, is much more varied what the songs do.
Yeah,
In
I think I agree with you there.
in
Yeah.
a generally positive way. I mean, like I like what they were doing in the first. Like two of the songs were highlights for me in the first half, but I feel like it's a good break because I feel like they're hitting a thing. They're hitting a certain thing pretty hard in those first five songs. Like I feel like
Right.
four of those five are pretty. Like the Hands That Thieve is the one that's like a little bit of a twist because it's like more acoustic based and not quite as like forceful, I guess is the word I might use. Um, but like the other four, are all pretty electric guitar heavy, pretty driving, pretty fast paced. Like lots of like they do the wind instruments in all the songs, but like they feature those parts in very like fast paced rock sections of the songs. And then I feel like If Only for Memories kind of is a little bit of this departure for the rest of the album, basically. Like they aren't as straightforward for the rest of the album with like their
Yeah.
integration of rock and up tempo music into the songs. And it's really good.
Yeah, I never thought of it as that much of a clear delineation, but now that I'm like looking at the track listing again and thinking about this, it really is like a break. It really is like, yeah, all the fastest, most punky, intense, fast ones are in the first half.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, you make a good point.
Yeah, I really like If Only for Memories. It's I think finally time to bring up one of my points that I'll get to as I talk about the song, which is that I've been kind of waiting on to bring up until I had more options to talk about it with. But so yeah, this one's really cool. It's another one where the lyrics are really like it's kind of storytelling. I feel like the three of us is kind of doing the storytelling things too. The Hands of Thieves kind of doing storytelling. I really
Mm-hmm.
like their version of like telling a short story with their songs. I feel like it's something they're really effective at, and then they kind of
Oh
use the chorus as just like interjecting some consistent melody into it. I think the verses are just amazing in If Only for Memories, and the chorus is sort of like
yeah,
the
100% agree.
fun, but like this is a great example of a song where like it's like the verse chorus that starts is amazing, and then we get like a little jam session thing that's fun, and then it just goes back to the chorus and ends, and it kind of leaves me wanting more. And
Yeah,
ultimately, in some of my
I can see that.
exploration about the band and the lyrics, I'm guessing you already know about this, but I came across the artist Tokay, like the frontman's work. Do you know Tokay?
I actually don't.
Oh,
No.
it's like the front. Oh wow, interesting. Okay, so the frontman is basically under the like moniker of Tokay. He released an acoustic version of this album before it came out because there was disputes with
Oh,
the labels. It's not on Spotify, but you can find it on like YouTube, and it's very easy to probably
really?
listen to. And it's
Of
just
this whole album?
yeah, it's just him playing every song acoustic.
Oh,
And
wow.
I found it because people were referencing some lyrical stuff, and I was like, wait, what are they talking? They were like, oh, in the Streetlight version of the song, there's this, and in the Tokay version, I was like, what is Tokay? So I looked it up, and it's like the front man. It came out like a year before or a little while before because they were having problems with the label, fights with the label. They wanted the album was supposed to come out sooner. It got pushed back by the label, so then he just like released
Hmm.
this acoustic version of the album that he did, and then that made an even bigger issue with the label because they didn't want him to put it out because they said it would like compete with the popularity and sales of the album they were going to release, blah blah blah. But so basically, there's acoustic versions of all these songs. It's just him singing, which brings up a couple points. One, I can tell he can sing in a different way, and I was like, why don't
Yeah,
you
I gotta
ever
go
do
listen to
this? It's
that.
very
I never knew that
softer
existed.
piece. It's very much. It's like pretty soft singing, but it's I really like hearing the songs in that light, and that is the thing with the vocals that made me be like, why don't you like in those acoustic versions of the songs? Like some of them are just his voice fits certain parts really well in a total, and it sort of like casts a whole different light on certain parts of songs in a way that's like, oh, that's a
Yeah.
vibe that wasn't at all what I got from the Streetlight version of the song. But like for example, like Ungrateful. Actually, I think the three of us and Ungrateful, I like the acoustic versions a lot. I would pretty clearly like the acoustic version of Ungrateful more than the Streetlight version, I would say. And the three of
Wow.
us, I like the Streetlight version a lot. You know, totally missing out on the wind instruments is a pretty big loss. But there's like some extra lyrics in the three of us on the acoustic version, and his
Hmm.
singing of the stuff in like a softer way. It's just such like a high energy song. It's just very like, oh, this is a totally different. It just really it made me appreciate the song more. I would say that was a song that I liked more after I heard the acoustic version. I felt like I understood the story more, and I connected with the emotion in a way that I didn't, and that was true with Ungrateful too. And now to circle all the way back to If Only for Memories, there's a third verse in the acoustic version, and it's like the best
Oh my
verse of the
God.
song.
Are you
It's
serious?
just
I
in
cannot
where
believe I've
you know how
never
there's
known.
like a bridge that's like 90 seconds long or something. It's like a super long bridge that's like the jam session before the last chorus. There's just a
Yeah.
third verse in there, and it's totally it actually ends the story. You know how the because
Really.
like the story is like you are born, you're loved, you're connected to where you're rooted is your like hometown and your family, and then it's like you got to get away. They
You
become
gotta go.
burdens. You got to
Yeah.
become your own person, and then chapter 3 is you return home and have kids and realize your connectedness to your home and your family is the most important part of who you are.
Wow, that like totally changes the message of the song. That's crazy.
Yeah, and
That's that's
so
actually insane
and
because so well, go ahead,
I was
sorry.
just gonna say, and like I just now every time I listen to the song, I'm like, where's the third verse?
Oh
I really
man,
like this.
dude.
I really like it. It didn't quite. It was one that was in the running for me. For me, the ones that were like in the running for being highlights was like this one, The Littlest Things, The Three of Us. But ultimately the other, well, ended up being my top three. I felt like were like kind of a clear cut above. But yeah, I do really like this song. But I wish that like it went back to the it had the third verse that the Tokay version had, and then like it doesn't really need the last chorus for me because the chorus isn't doing
Hmm.
the core part of the song, which is like telling this pretty cool like
Yeah.
just like a life story that feels like a um just like a connected part of the human experience that like I vibe with. I don't know. It's like, yeah, this is kind of this part of the human experience that you're explaining here, and you're doing it in a really catchy, fun way. So like, whereas and the chorus is catchy. Like I think the choruses work well after the verses because they just they break it up and like they're catchy. But like I think the fact that then they like just don't have a like that last verse and go back to the chorus. It's like, oh, just the chorus again. Okay. So
Yeah.
it's a song
No,
that I
I
feel like
mean,
there's like a better version of the song that just exists out there that we didn't get, and so that holds
man,
it back a little
that's
bit.
crazy. Yeah, first of all, I can't believe I never knew about
I
this.
know.
I
I
mean,
thought for sure
well,
you would be
it's
like,
interesting
I
because
wondered if
like,
you'd find Tokay. I thought that's what you're gonna be like.
well, yeah, I mean, it's kind of funny because I feel like I never did that kind of like internet digging on this
Yeah.
band because I've been listening to them since like 2010 or
Hmm.
whatever, and back then I just really didn't do that kind of thing. I just
Yeah.
like heard about this band and downloaded them on iTunes or whatever,
Yep.
you know. But and I feel like, yeah, I don't know, because I knew they didn't like come out with any new music. after this album. I just never like went back to the well and looked digging for stuff about Streetlight, but I can't believe I never knew about this. I need to listen to this.
Yeah, just listen.
Album. Yeah, it sounds great.
It's really good. I really liked it.
And now hearing you say that verse, it blows my mind, because I was actually going to call out how meaningful the lyrics are in this song, but that totally changes the meaning. It's kind of crazy, because so I actually sent this song, and I'll always remember this. I remember we had a car ride, me and my sisters. Well, we had 2 separate car rides in the same trip, and one, it was just me and my older of my 2 sisters for like 6 hours, and then it was both my sisters for a portion too. But the one, like that car ride with my older sister was like just one of the best times I've ever had with my sister, and we just shared a bunch of music with each other, and I felt like we grew a lot closer, and like we like shared stuff with each other. It was just a great, very memorable car ride. And I remember she was like struggling at the time with, which has changed a lot since, but at the time she was struggling with wanting to move far away. She was like really wanting to go to like out west, like Colorado. She had visited Colorado at the time, and she was like really feeling like she wanted to leave, but she was like struggling with being far from family and stuff. And I just remember us talking about that a lot. And I didn't play this song in the car ride, but I remember after that sending her this song and being like,
yeah,
you have to leave. You need to do what you got to do. Like, yeah. But it's so funny that third verse, like, completely.
Except for, I think that it still is saying that, though. It's just saying, but then there like maybe and perhaps likely will be another chapter after that.
True. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So it's not like totally.
Yeah.
Not totally overriding.
Yeah. No. It's definitely not. It's. I think what this is showing is it's just showing snapshots of iconic times in life. It's like you're born and you're the most precious, like, loved thing to your parents, and it's the most loved you'll ever be. And I think now as a parent, like, that's probably true. Like, you just have 2 people literally taking care of, assuming your home isn't broken, you know, and like you have a good upbringing and like are fortunate enough to have, you know, certain things be true that I hope are true for like most kids. Like, I mean, I wish were true for all kids, but like that you basically have 2 people just doting on you constantly and like giving so much of themselves to you, and then that just kind of shrinks over time as you become your own independent person and don't want to be under their thumb anymore. Whatever, you know, like you want to have your own independent, to the point where you reach chapter 2 where you see it as just holding you back. You're like, okay, well now I want to be my person. So it's like, then that's the next snapshot, is like the adolescence into adulthood of like, how do you become your own person? You become your own person by like pulling the anchor up.
Yeah.
But then I think like the next part is like, yeah, I mean, you should just listen to and read the lyrics. They're beautiful too. But it's just like saying like, now you're old, raising your own 2 souls. You have your own home. You finally settled down. You've seen the world, but your heart never left this town.
Wow.
Your kids have, they have the eyes of your mother and the crooked smile of your father, or crooked teeth of their father. So just showing how like everyone's connected from the family. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I don't know. I like it a lot.
Yeah. Wow. No, I'm definitely gonna have to go find this acoustic album. So that, yeah, I mean, because this song gets me emotional like pretty much every time.
You might get even more emotional listening. Maybe not though. I feel like it as a parent. I'm not saying you can't connect with it not as a parent, but it's talking about being a parent.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Obviously, reading you lyrics is, you'll have your own chance to digest them, but like the lines at the end is like, you'll hold them up, and everybody else should fall to the wayside. There is no end, no beginning on this merry-go-round we call living. Someday you will return every single ounce of the love you were given. It's pretty beautiful.
Wow. Yeah, I mean that's really cool that they bring that back too, because they start with they held you up, you know.
Yeah.
And then that turns into they hold you back, they hold you down.
And then it's hold them up.
To have it resolve and come back to oh man, Wow.
Oh, I
That's
missed the
really
next part. It's even better. I realized there's one more stanza. It's someday they'll go, and when they leave home, you will be grateful for the lesson that you learned. You had to travel half the world to realize what you knew all along, that everything will end up where it belongs.
full circle.
Yeah,
Back
pretty
now,
pretty good.
now your kids have the same journey.
Yeah.
Wow. God. Yeah. See, they're good at
Yeah,
this.
this song
But
is
also,
like
why
peak.
wasn't that stuff in the?
Exactly.
Oh
This song
man, that's
is their actual peak of the storytelling thing they do, and probably of all the lyrics. But like,
yeah.
it really is a bummer that the Streetlight version didn't get that last verse. I don't know, maybe they thought it was a little too obvious or sappy or something, or
I don't know.
yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Man, that's crazy. Yeah, I need to
there
go
you go.
listen to that acoustic album. I love this song. This is definitely one of my highlights.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we pretty much said
We
everything
just
about it.
unpacked
I wanted to share you that
like
anecdote with my sister and how much it related to her, the time in her life.
mm-hmm.
But yeah, that was it. Man, I gotta go listen to this Tokay.
All right, let's get through the rest.
Yeah.
All right, you want to
Okay.
kick off the next one?
Sure, they broke him down. This one is interesting to me actually because it really grew on me over time. It actually like started out as one of my least favorites.
Wow, interesting.
Which
I don't think I ever would have guessed that.
insane to me now.
Yeah.
Because it's one of my favorites for
Okay,
sure. I love this song, yeah, but it definitely grew on me over time. It even grew on me more just in the time we've been listening to it for this review. Like, you know, it wasn't one of my least favorites before this period
mm-hmm.
in the past few weeks, but it was probably like middle of the pack. And then in these last few weeks, I've been like, no, this is one of my favorites. This is definitely one of my, yeah. And I don't entirely know why. Like, I maybe just, I don't know, it had more slower parts or something. But why didn't I like it at the beginning? I'm trying to think like back to 19-year-old me. Like, why was I not?
It's not. Yeah, I don't know. I
drawn
guess
to this
maybe
as
I'm just
much,
thinking about how like 19-year-old me just loved like the more quintessential like feeling like it was rocking out the whole time, which the song isn't.
Right.
It is as straightforward as the three of us and with any sort of
Yeah.
certainty. Like those have more of a true driving energy. This one's more varied throughout the song. The energy level is oscillating a bit more. The
Yeah,
lyrics
for
are
sure.
cryptic, I would say.
Yeah,
Not as
definitely
obvious what they're
cryptic.
talking about.
Yeah,
I think there's a
and
lot that they are referring to.
it's interesting too that like this one, actually like this one has one of the more mellow choruses, but
Mhm.
this one probably gets stuck in my head more than any other one
Yeah.
for me personally.
Yeah, it's really catchy.
Yeah, the lyrics are interesting. I'm not even entirely sure that I know like exactly what they're talking about. I mean,
This was the song that made me look up lyric meanings because I was like, I feel like I have no idea what's going on, and I think
Okay.
there was several different interpretations, all of which seemed valid to me, and I think my guess is that the songwriter was just weaving several themes together about basically. I think like a part of it is like choosing what you believe doesn't matter when you die. Part of it is I think there's maybe like someone he knew that died, and it's like a specific reflection on that person's death, and kind of questioning, is the same thing gonna happen to me? I think that's maybe like kind of prompting this, like, but I think it's like somewhat existential of like, does anything we say or do matter with like based on what happens when we die? Kind of like a little bit of. I think the like breaking him down thing is like at least one of the interpretations would be like breaking down somebody's like beliefs, being like getting in like an argument or something about what happens when we die, or like a belief system of a religion or whatever, that kind of thing.
Interesting. I
I
would
don't
not
know.
have gotten that. That's interesting. Now I want to go back and listen to it with that lens. Huh.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe you could come up with a more succinct explanation. I don't think there's any like one story. It's not like If Only for Memories where it's telling a pretty clear story. I think it's much more like sort of riffing on a concept.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah,
I
I
really
also
like this one
just
too, though.
love the music in this one so much. I'm
Yeah,
absolutely
it's one of my
obsessed with
highlights too.
the horns in this song. Like that, just the melodies are so good and so memorable to me, and so like yeah, just emotive. They really stick out and stick in my brain.
Yeah, yeah, it has a really good chorus. And I said this one to me, it's sort of like how by the time I got to the end of the album, there's a couple things they did with some of the songs that I loved on certain songs that then almost made me like a little bit like, why didn't you do a little more of that? Like, so with the Hands That Thieve,
Mm.
the way they like have such a good verse chorus going, but then like, you know what, we can do another cool thing and not even go back to it. Ha. Like, yes, I love that. And then with this one, it's like it's verse chorus, bridge chorus. But every chorus is different. The first one's slow and acoustic, the second one is fast tempo,
Yeah,
electric car. Third one is slow tempo and breaks in the middle and goes to just gang vocals, but then picks back
more
up.
gang
And
vocals.
then
Yeah,
every verse is very different. The first verse is like really fast paced, I think. Or wait, does it start? Yeah, I think the first verse is fast paced, then it slows down. I don't know.
yep.
Every
Then
verse is
it's
just pretty
yeah.
different, basically. So
No,
like,
you're right. Yeah,
even though like this is a great example of even though it's a pretty standard song structure, it doesn't feel repetitive or like it doesn't get old because every version of it's different.
that's
So
true. It feels like
I
it's evolving
yeah,
as the song
yes,
goes
yeah,
on.
it feels really evolutionary and the lyrics are really intriguing and I think it's like a nice they show really strong songwriting range from lyric perspective specifically here in that like they can do a song like If Only for Memories and feel really genuine and feel really compelling, but they can also do a song like this where like it's hard to know what they're talking about other than the general themes, but it still feels poetic and interesting, you know.
Absolutely.
It's not like they can
Yeah.
only do this type of lyrics good. Like they do pretty different kind of lyrics. So yeah,
Right.
and just super catchy, like you said. Like the chorus is really catchy on this one. Really like it.
Yeah. This one's yeah. In the past couple weeks, listening to this one's been in my head like constantly,
Yeah, there we go.
more than any other one. Yeah.
This one wasn't one of
But
your
yeah.
highlights?
Yeah. This is one of my
Oh, this was
highlights.
okay. I was like broke him down.
Yeah.
That's interesting to know that that one like grew on you more so recently.
Yeah.
It's always fun
Like
to
yeah.
like to
Like I
figure
said,
out which
I
ones you
already
liked more. There's song,
liked it
yeah. Go on.
more than I did at the beginning, but I
Uh-huh.
liked it even more. Yeah. This time. And yeah. I'm still not entirely sure why it didn't stick out to me as much in the past. Now that I like it for the reasons
Right.
I like it, I mean, I'm like, man, why did this not hit for me before? I'm not really sure. Maybe just, I think, in the past I was coming to Streetlight for a specific thing. At least when I first started listening to them, I was like, I'm coming to them for sick brass line, and that's what I'm here for, and I don't really care what else is going on.
Yeah.
But my love for them quickly grew. I mean, that was like the very very beginning of me listening to them. Of
Mhm.
like, oh, that's why I'm here, because Sean showed me this one crazy part, and I was like, whoa, that literally sounds like progressive metal, but with brass instruments.
Yeah.
I need to listen to this. But yeah, and over time, obviously, I've grown to like them for many other reasons. But yeah, I don't know. This song didn't hit me in the past, but it hits me now for sure.
Yeah, I think I've touched on just on like revealing some of my the couple other weaknesses I had. One of I mentioned the pacing. We're continuing to get into it a little bit. I basically by the time I'm done with that, I kind of feel like they could have. I feel like you could take these same 10 songs and like sequence them in a way where it flows a little better for me. Like I do feel like, and maybe this is still like the getting to know the album version of me speaking here, but it did feel like the beginning is like a wall of intensity for like the first half of the album, and then it like breaks and never really returns. And I'm like, oh, why couldn't you have like sprinkled, like If Only for Memories being track 3 or something instead of like and break up the beginning, I don't,
Yeah,
that kind of thing. So the pacing I think could have been a little better. Also, like maybe there could have just been. I always say this with like shorter albums in terms of track quantity. I really do feel like this is an album that I don't feel like even the songs I don't like as much. I don't think are like they should have cut that song from the album or anything. Like I feel like Ungrateful is the current example of like my least favorite up to this point is like I still like that it's on there. I don't like dislike the song or anything. So I feel like it's an album that even though it's long, no minutes wise, like there could have just been like an 11th song on there, and it could have been like one that was something different that broke up the first 5 and just sprinkled in there or something like that. So yeah, a couple things, ideas of ways they could have changed up the pacing a little that where maybe it would have worked a little better for me. And then we've talked about this a little bit, like for how amazing and technical the instrumentation is, like the song structures are like they're for the most part don't get as creative with the song structures as they get with the like letting the instruments be really technical and like how much different like melodies. And we haven't really talked about the drums are really good on this album. I haven't like specifically brought that up.
They are great. Yeah,
there's really good drums. They're not like the peak instrument because I think what just stands out is the wind instruments, but like the drums are really good too.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Yeah, it's funny that you were the first one to bring that up.
And I was like, wait a minute, pause. Brought up drums.
Well, and it's because they don't like it's not the thing that stands out to them on the album, but they fit incredibly well and they do cool things. It's just like
there's some really good drum parts.
It's just not as much the thing that grabs me about their music, but it's definitely not like at all a downside. I think the drums are great. Yeah, you could probably uncover my weaknesses at this point. I mentioned the vocals and my other 2 point. I mean, I was reaching a little bit with the other 2 points, but basically what I'm trying to get at is, I mean, there's obviously that clear separation between the first and second halves of the album, but overall, even with the second half, they're still kind of doing the like, doing the
pretty upbeat.
Yeah, like even though it does change and it does kind of slow down, and the next song that we're about to talk about is definitely
it's like the ballad,
a clear outlier. Yeah, overall, like they are kind of doing one type of energy for the most part. And where it varies is the lyrics and the standout parts of each song. And I was, like I said, I was kind of reaching a little bit because I love this album, and so but yeah, like I could see, if you're not into the main thing they're doing, that's what they're doing. Like they're not.
It's like a.
If you don't like the Three of Us or whatever,
right? Good luck.
You're probably not gonna like the album. Yeah. Whereas there are other albums where it's like, oh, okay, you don't like this one song that's their lead single, but it's okay. They do a bunch of different stuff. Whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, that's true. All right, let's get into Toe to Toe. You mentioned it.
Yes.
Basically, the ballad of the album. It's well done. I like this one. I like. It's another song where like the chorus is. I really like the verses and the bridge, and the chorus is probably my least favorite part. And it's another song where, specifically, there's like after the second chorus, a really nice, chill little like instrumentation section and then it goes into like another version of a verse kind of thing. And that verse totally could have ended the song, and it would have been a really satisfying ending. And then they do one more chorus. It's probably the most egregious example, in my opinion, where the chorus is like, I don't like the ending chorus being there. I think like if you end it with that last little verse, it's like a really beautiful ending. So that's like probably what holds it back from like maybe being in the mix with my highlights. But I like it overall. It's still like a very additive song to the album, a good song. But
fair enough.
Yeah.
This is my last highlight. This is one of my absolute faves. I love this song. That I'm actually totally okay with them coming back to the chorus on this one. I love the chorus. It's probably one of my favorite choruses on the album. I think this song is like, it's a fun little story in the lyrics. And it's just like such a fun change of pace from the rest of their
really
music
nice
as a whole. Especially if you had listened to Somewhere in the Between and then come to this album and then make it through the first 7 tracks or wherever we're at, and then you get to Toe to Toe and you're like, this is Streetlight? Okay. it really feels like they finally did something like very clearly different. To me at least.
Yeah, no, it definitely stands out on the album.
And it feels really good to me. And,
yeah.
and like I said, I really enjoy the story of the lyrics in this one. This has been the first song that I show people sometimes when I want to show them Streetlight. Not to
funny.
say this is what all their music is like, but just to be try to get my hooks in them, oh, this is a much more, to me, this is their most accessible. This just feels like a chill, almost poppy, acoustic-y song. And but I love it. I think it fills a perfect role that they didn't really have before, and it fits really well on the album. And the lyrics, I think, go well with the rest of the storytelling, as we've been talking about, that the album's doing. And I love it.
Yeah, I do really like the lyrics on the song. It's a good one. Just doesn't quite. It was it almost could be a highlight. I think it's like the maddening little thing of, and it's all subjective, but I just have that I feel like there's a version of this song in my head that I just like more than this version of the song.
Yeah.
So.
It's kind of funny. Unintentionally, I just picked 4 songs that are all back to back to back to back as my highlights.
Yeah. That is a good stretch. For me, I definitely think from the littlest things through toe to toe. Yeah, that's the peak of the album for me for sure. That's obviously starting earlier than your highlights started, but that's that middle chunk there is where it's really good.
Yeah, I love the first few songs too. I had trouble. I wanted to stop at 4. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I debated. Yeah, I know that's where I almost put in 1 or 2 more, but then I just feel like my decision point was for me, these 3 are a true cut above the others, which made it harder. If I put 1 more in, I would have felt like I had to put even more in after that, because there was it was sort of the next one. For me, it was after this, it was If Only for Memories, The Three of Us, The Littlest Things, Toe to Toe. Those are the next 4 then that are all kind of in the mix.
Yeah.
Of well, if I put any one of them, I wouldn't even know which one of the 4 to pick.
Right.
So. Yeah. Well, then after that is Oh Me Oh My. This song, it's a fun one. This song, I feel like it just seems like it could be in a musical. It feels very theatrical.
Wow, yeah,
I literally picture just a big cast performing it on stage. It's the lyrics would fit being in the middle of a random musical, because it's sort of self-narrating, or a little bit.
it really
it's
would.
Fun.
You're right.
This is probably my other least favorite with Ungrateful, but again, I probably like it more than Ungrateful, just because it's sort of just is it my favorite style on the album, what they're doing, but I feel like it's fun. I said about the other songs that have my top songs, is it still feels additive to me. I like listening to it. I really like the bridge. It has a fun little guitar riff thing in the before the last chorus that's just unique on the album. They do stuff with electric guitar. I'm not saying they don't do any, but it's rarely getting the center stage to do a cool thing.
Right.
There's a part where it is kind of just a little riff thing going on, and it kind of just sounds like it's oh, is this a rock song right now? Not not this crazy ska band. And that's fun to have a section of a song that is mostly big and theatrical with lots of the horns going on and stuff, to just all of a sudden feel a bit of just a melodic rock song for a second. That's the cool thing about it. But other than that, I don't have too much more to say about it.
Yeah, you pretty much nailed it. The fact, having it be a musical, that's perfect. Just the chorus, especially.
Right.
Oh, we are alive. Goodness gracious, what a lie! Yeah, I mean, it just sounds like especially the way it's sung too. It sounds like it could be a musical. But this song is well, and as we flow into the last song, I will say probably my single biggest complaint about this album is the way that it ends. I just feel like this song to me is kind of whatever. I don't dislike it, but it doesn't do a ton for me. I do like the bridge portion. I like the chorus enough, it's not a bad song. It's just not drawing me in like the other ones are. And at least for me personally, the last song doesn't really either. I
Yeah.
don't dislike either of these songs, but I just feel like such a strong start and strong middle. It just like, man, this could have been it could have been like one of my absolute favorite albums ever. I feel like if it just would have had a strong ending, and I don't think it personally. I don't think the ending is that strong.
Yeah, I mean, I'd agree with you. Yeah, I mean, then the ending songs aren't highlights for me. I do like Your Day Will Come. In particular, I like how it like starts slow. They don't have maybe any other examples of a song that starts as slow as it starts, where it's just kind of like I think it's not acoustic, it's still like electric, but it's like strumming soft electric guitar, kind of like singing the verse. And then when they like build up the pace, all of a sudden I think it's like after the first chorus, and then they have like a jam session. It's like really satisfying, and it felt like they'd been kind of building a bit of a tension and an energy
Yeah,
for that moment, and that part of the song was really good. But like after that jam session, it's just sort of like a not super memorable song. After that, it's like that's the beginning through the end of the first jam session's like my favorite part of the song, and then like the rest of it's sort of just run of the mill, like not
I
them at their peak.
yeah, I totally agree. The beginning is cool, and yeah, leading up to that first like big moment and jam session is cool, and then to me it just like kind of drags a little bit
Yeah,
after
it just
that.
doesn't go anywhere particularly memorable
Yeah,
or interesting. Totally unobjectionable song. Yeah, like, but not a highlight. So I can definitely see. I would agree it doesn't end super strong. The middle part's definitely where it's strongest. I feel like I'm missing a strength here.
yeah, and
Yeah, I
I
totally
will
get
say
this.
like I was definitely the when I was first listening to this album, and it's stuck with me since the beginning, which you wouldn't have this lens, but the like end of Somewhere in the Between is like some of the best bits, I
It ends
think.
really strong.
it's
You always
very
want an
it's
album to end strong. I mean, I think that's like true of every album. Like, I think
yeah,
it's especially when it's like an album that is like it is checking so many boxes. Like if it's an album that you think is doing like it's that much of a favorite to you to end a little, it's like it just feels like missed potential. It's different than like if the first four songs were all like just decent, but then like the last six were all amazing. It's just a different thing.
yeah,
It's like to have like really good track one, and then like the whole middle section of the album is really good, and then you had your like four highlights in a row, and then kind of just be like, oh, there's kind of two not like bad songs, but like slightly disappointing to end it.
yeah, yeah,
It
right. It
definitely,
just feels like a letdown
yeah,
after the rest. Yeah,
right,
yeah. So
yep.
yeah, it sounds like we're
Um,
pretty much on the same page on these last
yeah, it doesn't
couple.
have a super strong ending, and I feel like the last two songs are not ones that like need to be unpacked as much as pretty much any of the other ones that we talked about. So I think I've said what I wanted to about them.
Yeah.
Continued like with the fun lyrical themes. I will say, like I do think like the lyrics of both the songs are pretty good. Um,
Oh yeah,
so
for sure.
that's where I think that's like one of the most consistent strengths. Like there's pretty much no songs that I think the lyrics are a miss on. And then now that we've
Yeah.
gotten through the whole album, I can unpack a little bit of stuff here as we get closer to like revealing our ratings and stuff that made it tricky for me with this one. So a couple variables that have made the like rating of the album, like trying to figure out where I land hard is like the first one here. You know, I've referenced some of this a little bit, but like I definitely really like the songwriting. Like I think they're very clearly really talented songwriters in terms of like the instrumentation, the melodies he wrote with the horns, the choruses, the verses. I mean, like the songs are really cool. But then also when I listen to them in conjunction with the Tokay versions, it's like I get an even bigger picture of what was maybe going. You know, like it
Mm.
reminds me of a random interview that like Bill Murray did where he was talking about how like a song is like the song is like the song, but like the song can wear a bunch of different skins. It can be sleeved in a different way. Like the genre actually isn't a song. Like the song exists outside the genre and can be sleeved in different ways and
Yeah.
take on different lives basically depending on how the artist wants to communicate it and ultimately put it out there. And having the Tokay album is such an interesting version of like I have two versions of every song basically, and some of them are, like Toe to Toe is not that different, right? But like most of them are fairly
Sure.
different in terms of the energy and sort of the way it's being communicated. And like I don't, I think what it made me realize is like I think I like the songs a lot. I think I like every song a lot, but the Streetlight versions of the songs aren't all my favorite versions of the songs. It's like a weird way to say it for certain ones. Like Ungrateful, like I just like the acoustic Ungrateful more. I just connect with the energy more. The lyrics like make more sense the way it's being like sung in that song for me to connect with it versus the like super punk rock version. And then like I told you about, like the Only from Memories one has like that extra verse that obviously helps like just make it a more complete song for me.
Yeah,
And
that's
it
still blowing my mind.
and the three of us too is really is like one that just the energy is different. The like sort of emotion. It's like I think the emotion's there in the Streetlight version, but you're like again, it's just like sort of a different version of being able to connect with it and sort of feel a different version of the intent. I would say with that delivery. And yeah,
Yeah.
it just sort of makes this complicated. Like, oh, I would say I like some of those songs more from hearing those versions. So how do I specifically rate like the Streetlight Manifesto version is like something that then I was like, this is an interesting. I haven't had this debate with that with any of the other albums, obviously. And then another theme that I've like just kind of reckoned with throughout all the album reviews, and I think I'm realizing now that we've done enough of these. This is probably just going to be a thing for like most of things I review from that I haven't listened to before that also aren't artists, which is like a lot of what you're suggesting, right? Like I mean that the reason you're saying we should review this because I haven't listened to it before, right? But like basically, I now have like Knocked Loose, Delta Sleep, um, Hot Mulligan, and now this. Four bands that like are all I would say territory that like I don't just typically listen to bands that sound super like them. Knocked Loose is
Yeah.
like the closest one. Where there was something like pretty similar to that I already listened to, and I think it's just hard for me to reckon with like how does this fit into my like it feels somewhat I have cognitive dissonance being like I give this a 4.5 or whatever if I don't think I'm just gonna be able to revisit it because it's like not something that I will fit into my life like in terms of what I listen to, but I think that's just true of all these bands because I don't listen to any of them, so I'm just having to
Yeah.
reckon with that, and I think it's a struggle for me to know where to put the ratings. Like I feel like I'm wanting to rate them lower because I just don't know when I'll revisit them. And I wonder a little bit, like you gave the Falling Up a high rating, which thrilled me because I'm a huge Falling Up fan, obviously. But it's like I sort of from your perspective, I'm gonna have to ask myself the question of like I don't know, like how often are you gonna revisit Falling Up with just with hours? You don't listen to Falling Up, and they're not really probably fit in a clean box of stuff that you regularly listen to. So I wondered if you had a same sort of like internal debate a little bit about like
I think I have.
will I listen to this much?
Yeah. I don't know. I think I have less of a. I get random cravings for music. So like I think having a wide variety of things to reach
Yeah,
back
I
to.
wonder if I'll have that more
I
now
don't
that
have a
I'm.
very consistent, especially nowadays. Like it's definitely evolved over time. Like there was definitely a period of time where it was like I want metal more than anything. And then there was a period of
Yep,
time where it was like
same.
I want progressive rock, like my biggest like peak Deer Hunter phase. I was like I want that
Yeah.
style more than anything. But like nowadays, I feel like it's a little bit everything. I mean, just the other day I had I re-listened to a Frank Ocean album that I hadn't listened to in years.
Yeah, some of the Frank Oceans on there. Cute.
Yeah, I think I've actually put one
Yeah.
on our thing. Yeah, which would be that would be a big departure from what you're used to, I
Yeah.
think. But yeah, it was just like, man, I don't listen to that style of music with any regularity, but occasionally I'm like, man, I'm so
That's what
excited
you
to
want.
go back to
Yeah, I
this.
wonder if I'll have a little more of that
But I will say,
since
like,
I'm casting a little bit wider of a net with some of the newer stuff.
yeah, and I mean, it's cool to be able to expose you to stuff that you wouldn't normally listen to, but and I totally hear you if you're not like feeling like you're gonna go back to this much, but at least for me, Streetlight, I do actually go back to them pretty
I can see.
consistently.
I really liked it, and I think this has been true of all
Yeah,
four of the albums. That I got really into all of them, and like love basically got to the point where I actively enjoyed pretty much every song on all of the albums to some degree. Like there have been none of the albums we've done have I been like, dang, there's just like half the album that like really missed for me. I would say in this one there's like a couple songs that aren't like my favorite, but like overall most of it was like really actively enjoyable by the time I like got to know it. Um, and I would say Streetlight maybe more so than maybe there might be my topic of like the four listed that we've done, that you've put in the queue that I've done that were new bands for me. Delta Sleep's up there too. Like those two, I feel very confident. Like I want to listen to more of them because I think maybe the most succinct way of saying the point I'm trying to make is that I feel like, and that I'm struggling, I'm having like this cognitive dissonance about it a little bit, is that I think if this was the fourth Streetlight Manifesto album I'd listened to, and it was the same exact experience, I might give it a different rating than if it being this album and it being the first, if that makes any sort of sense.
Yeah.
Like, and I've realized that with Falling Up. It's like when Falling Up comes out with their next album, I feel like it gets such an inherent boost because I'm just so connected to what the band is doing. I have all this like lore and history. I already know I revisit them all the time, so I know it's gonna hit rotation. Like
Yeah.
they'd have to
Context matters.
fail so hard for it to like for me to rate it really low because it's like it's getting this huge inherent boost and like
Yeah.
none of this stuff is getting that boost at all.
Well,
Like it's all getting like it has nothing to carry it. It just has to be its fully owned thing, and it's
that's true.
all pretty new to me too. So it's like genre wise, it's all like a little different than anything I've ever listened to. It's not there's no super clean parallels to other bands I listen to, which is exciting and new. But it's making me tug the ratings lower basically because I'm less inclined to like believe I'll revisit it basically.
Yeah. No, I mean that makes
So
sense. That makes sense. It's
yeah,
interesting too because you can kind of flip that on its head, like just going with the point that context matters. Also, like, oh, if I listen to August Burns Red, they're I don't even remember the title of it. The one with like the I literally don't even remember the title of it because it was so forgettable. But one of the August Burns Red like middle albums, like you listen to that as their first one, you're like, oh, this is a sick metalcore album.
yeah.
But you listen to it as their fifth album, you're like, cool, they're just doing the same
more stuff. Yeah,
shit.
that's true. That's a good point. Yeah, I think in that sense, yeah. I mean, that's an interesting. I wonder what I would think if just I listened to like their sixth album or something without knowing all the others. But I actually think it was better than I do now, like with all the other ones around it. I don't know.
I'd be inclined to think I would think it's better.
Yeah, it
I
would
don't know.
stand out more, and then you'd keep listening to more and
Yeah.
more, and it all kind of blends together. And then you start to realize that they always have like two or three songs that are way better than the other ones on every album. It's just their like
Yeah.
that's their perhaps you could argue is their biggest strength or their biggest weakness or whatever. But that's kind of like
Yeah.
yeah.
But I hear you. Yeah, I was just kind of throwing a different spin on it there, but yeah,
No, that
I
is
totally.
interesting. I mean, this is all just going on in my head trying to understand because like I think the point like that I'm trying to make because I've gotten legitimately really into every one of these albums and I'm really glad I've listened to them and that I want to listen to more by the bands, but I still there's something in me that feels like I can't give it like so I'll just jump to my rating. Like I feel like I can't give it too much higher than like 3 stars because I'm just not confident that like I'll really come back to it that much. And 3 stars for me is saying like good album, I enjoyed a lot of it. There was
Yeah.
some flaws and things that like I wish was a little different, which I would say was true of this one in a weird way. I think this album, if a couple, there could be like really small things different that would like it's like close to a 3.5, but there's just like little things with like the extra choruses that bug me that maybe like when I've listened to the song 100 like more times or whatever, like I'm a year down the road, I won't be bugged by that anymore or something because there's always quirks to like how songs grow on you and like you said with They Broke Him Down or whatever, like you randomly are like, oh, this is a highlight for me now. Like that's just that kind of stuff just happens. Um, Things that stand out or in early listens can like totally fall away and you can suddenly fall in love with like a part of the song you didn't even notice the first 10 times you listen to it and all that kind of stuff. But as of now, I feel like there's like the little things that kind of held it back from being like kind of 3.5, but I don't think I can give it like 4. Like it's definitely enough below 4 where it wasn't like between 3.5 and 4. I think it was more like between 3 and 3.5 for me. But I can kind
Yeah.
of see. I'd be very curious to explore their other work, and I don't, maybe I don't know how much you want to foreshadow. I know we always like to keep things a little secret, but I'm kind of just curious. Like, do they are they staying within some like conventions a little more with like the song structures in this one, or is this kind of how they roll with the other stuff you listen to, where they're mostly doing like the verse chorus, bridge chorus thing?
I mean, hmm, I don't know. It's interesting because even before today and you pointing that out, I really never even thought about them in that lens as much. I guess I like, which is interesting because typically that's something I'm pretty damn sensitive to. Of like, if a whole album is like verse, chorus, bridge, chorus, I'm bored. But I'm just never bored with Streetlight, even if they do, even this album that they do that with. So like I'm trying to think back to the other album. I'm like, do they do that still?
Because I feel like sometimes bands, and I have no idea if this was their arc, sometimes bands start more experimental and then they build a fan base and then they like kind of get a little more like, oh, we're doing a little more traditional song structures because we have a big audience. We want to make sure we appeal. So I was like kind of curious if that might have happened
Yeah,
a little bit with them.
I'll say this. My gut, definitely what I feel is that the first one is more experimental, more different, but like
I think that will help.
I'm second guessing it now because I didn't realize I wasn't even thinking about how much this one is that. Yeah. So now I'm like, is the first one that too? I need to like go listen to it again, thinking about that. But it feels more experimental. It's definitely, I'll say this, it's definitely different. Like it's still ska, you know, it's still fast guitars and trumpets and shit. But like it definitely feels different than this album. So it's definitely its own experience.
Yeah, we'll have to keep that one on the list and get back to them again. At some point, because I feel like I definitely want more. Like this album definitely leaves me wanting more from the band, and it leaves me feeling a little bit like there's untapped potential, and just knowing certain things about like, oh, there was like disputes with the label, which I feel like often is like trying to make them be accessible, stuff like that. There were some variables that made me think like maybe this album ended up a little cleaner and a little more in a accessible box than like their earlier stuff would, and if that is the case, I think that bodes very well for them, because there's like really things that I love about what they're doing that like no other bands I listen to do with like the wind instruments and stuff, and there's still like the clear creativity that exists. It just feels like they made choice. Like it feels like to me an example with, and like I could just literally be wrong about this, but just from like as I was like getting to know it, it's like it feels like it was the artist saying we want to structure the song simply for like maybe XYZ reasons, kind of choosing and opting into it, rather than like an example of a band like Pillar or whatever, where it's like I don't think Pillar were capable of writing a more complicated song, right? Like they like I'm not even like necessarily meaning that as like just a diss on them. I just more mean like there's artists that like it's just not a thing they're ever gonna do, let alone like versus artists where it's like, oh, it seems like there probably was like a debate and an intentional decision to do it this way, not just that this was all they were capable of. And I kind of got that feeling because the like times when they deviated were done really well, and just with like the nature of all the instrumentation going on, it's like it feels like it is breaking up the structure. Like it is more engaging than just like a Pillar song, like I'm not trying to say it's in that light. I just think they would have benefited from like doing a little more of what the Hands That Thieve did, basically. Like I feel like the Hands That Thieve did a really good job of like starting in a traditional way and then giving you a twist of like, oh, and then now we're just doing this other thing for the rest of the song that's really fun, and like a little more of that kind of stuff going on would have been really cool for me.
Yeah, no, I feel that. I think we should definitely put somewhere in the between on our list for eventually.
Yeah, let's do it.
I mean, and I'll just say like, well, so you can go to my rating. I gave it 4 stars. But honestly, coming into this, I was like, to me, obviously I've had a way more time with this album. I've been listening to this album for almost 15 years at this point.
That's crazy.
Which is crazy to say out loud, but this album is like timeless for me. The amount of like road trip history I have with this album, and like just
it's nice and long. It's a good road trip one,
the amount of people I've shared it with and stuff like that. It's just like it's definitely stood the test of time, and I come back to it all the time. And part of coming back to it for me too is like I really don't have anything else like this in my listening catalog. And so it's like if I'm ever in the mood for anything remotely like this is the thing, but It's also interesting because coming into this album, I think of this album as like, I mean, a lot of the times I think of the two Streetlight albums that I like, this one and the somewhere in the between, as like, you know, at least contenders for like top 20, top 15 any album.
Mm-hmm.
I think of them both as that pretty much. But then like coming back to this and trying to review it today, it was like, you know, I was really expecting it to give it like I'm like, ooh, I'm gonna have to debate between a 4.5 and a 5 on this one. But then I came back to it, I'm like, man, the ending is really not that good, and like, you know, Ungrateful is not that great, and there's these, you know, there's these things that like could be better. Like, okay, I still absolutely love it, which is why I'm giving it 4 stars. Because I still think there's so many bangers on this album. I just love what they're doing in general. I love the lyrics so much. Their songs on this album have made me tear up on multiple occasions because of how much I related to them or whatever it may be, you know, like it's still so good to me. But yeah, I think I was like, had a little bit of rose-colored glasses on it, and coming back and like actually thinking about it through a review sense, I was like, yeah, this is not, definitely it's not perfect. It definitely could be better, but I still love it. So that's how I arrived at 4 stars.
Yeah, it makes sense. Not too many albums are like true, like probably album of the year or top couple album of the year you found out about them. Album of the year is the thing in my brain. Is always like the year you found it, not the year it came out.
Yeah,
I listen to so many things these days that are like 10 years old or whatever.
Oh yeah, it's gotta be.
But yeah, anything that's like a 4 stars, yeah, it's like the way I rate things. It's like there's a lot of 4-star albums out there that I'd give a lot of albums a 4-star, but by a lot I mean like 10s and 20s or whatever, and then like the number 5s would be like, I don't know, very low. So
neither of us has given out a 5 yet, right?
Yeah, no, we haven't yet. We haven't really done like a picking of favorites though. We've more picked to like show each other stuff.
Yeah, we're not trying.
So yeah, I think that I was gonna say the thing with the 5s is like in order to like we'd either have to get insanely lucky with like a random one because
right.
I mean I think like I said I'm probably like too. It'd be interesting to try to come up with like what albums I'd give 5s because like I have to give something 5s, otherwise it's like they can't not give anything a 5. Then it's just stupid.
Something has to be 5.
But then you kind of have to do like, or at least in my mind, it's kind of like, well, I have to decide what that threshold is because then if there's certain things that are all comparable, I have to decide like, okay, well, I do give a 5 to that whole group that I think is all there. But yeah, I don't know. I don't actually know. I know we've talked about some of the like greatest hits type albums we could go back to, like Forget Not Slow Down stands out as one that it's I would say I'd for sure give it a 4.5 or a 5, one of the two, and I'd have to like get into it to see.
I feel like I'd have to convince myself why I'm not giving that one.
yeah, it's really good. Yeah, so that's like one that always comes to mind for me. I don't know if I'd give any individual Falling Up album a 5. I think I think the Falling Up has been built more off of consistent like 4s just over a long time, and everyone being meaningfully different in a way that showed evolution as like that's sort of Falling Up's like real vibe for me. I don't know, I'd have to think about it.
I think I'd probably give Act 4 a 5.
Okay, yeah, Deer Hunter album, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Some Florence is definitely
Act
up there
2 as well, honestly. Those might both be 5s for me. They're probably at least both 4 5s. I'd have to listen to it.
Yeah, I could. Wait, Act 2 is the one I listened to, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Act 2 is really good. I could see that being. I wouldn't give it a 5, but I feel like I would probably give it at least a 4.
Yeah.
And great. I didn't listen to it nearly as much as you. If we were to review it again, there's a chance it could push higher.
It is tough though, because it feels like you give something a 5, it feels like you're saying there's nothing wrong with this, but that probably shouldn't be what the rating is. It's not like there can't be literally nothing wrong with anything, right? So
it does help. Like an album like Act 2, it helps that it's
like 5 stars should just be like this is as good as it gets.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I don't know.
It's so nice and long. And there's just truly like nothing on it that was like felt like a waste of space. Like when you can be super long and nothing feels like wasted time, that's a really good sign.
Yeah.
And it still has the high, like really individual song highs too, which can be like the counterpoint sometimes. It's like, oh, I like every song on the album, but there's no like one song that's a song of the year
It's all
contender. But
pretty.
that
It's
one
all
actually
good.
does
Yeah.
have like a few like really good top ones. But anyways, now
Right.
we're just talking about a random Deer Hunter album. But
I know. Sorry.
I do feel like I could keep talking about music with you for the next hour. I'm gonna do my
Yeah.
predictions really quick, random. This I feel like I really struck out on my predictions, and I actually kind of felt decent about my picks for some reason, but it just goes to show like we've never really talked about stuff like this. I
Yeah.
predicted you would pick the three of us to like more than me.
Okay.
I did have a pretty strong sense that you probably liked most of the songs quite a bit because I was just figured you probably liked the album a lot. So like I didn't. The tricky thing with picking that one for me was I was like I feel like you probably like a lot of the songs a lot, and I feel like so I kind of felt like I could just I was like picking like which one of the songs that you like a lot do you like that much more than me, but I kind of guessed maybe the three of us would make your highlights just because it has such a cool like intro and such cool jam sessions. But I feel like
Oh,
we actually
and it
pretty
was
much ended up liking that one pretty equally, I think, as far
yeah.
as
It was very close.
relative
Yeah.
quality on that one. Then song that I would like more, I guessed with any sort of certainty.
Mm.
Because that was probably my single top song on the album, but it was like close enough to that again we think we were pretty equal on that. The interesting thing, I predicted for this album that like the my version of Old Pine on this album, which I'll use Old Pine as the adage of just song that I just think everybody probably loves because it's so good. I thought the Hands That Thieve would be like your top song on the album, basically.
Oh yeah.
Or like that
I mean,
was
I'll
probably
just
my
say
like
about that.
number
Like,
two.
I know that there's the four that I picked, right? Honestly, those were the four that like especially resonated the most with me this time
Yeah,
through.
makes sense.
But like, I definitely could have picked like any of the first like 7 or 8
Yeah.
songs. Pretty much, other than the last two. Pretty much, other than the last two and Ungrateful, I could have picked any of the other 7
Yeah.
songs as highlights.
Makes
They're
sense.
all pretty much on the same level for me.
Yeah.
I just
I
like
feel like
them
that's
for
kind of my
different reasons.
tiers. My tiers was kind of like Ungrateful, Oh Me Oh My. Above that, Your Day Will Come. Above that, everything else.
Yeah.
And then this one was a total cop out, but I technically think was right. Just like thing you'd say or emphasize. I just was like pretty sure you were gonna just love that they would go hard with essentially every instrument on the album. You just
Yeah.
like technical instrumentation, so I was just like I don't. It felt like a gimme. It's like I'm pretty sure this is like why you like this genre. Like I don't know if you're saying we should listen to ska. It's probably because you like that they go hard with the, like
Yep.
go hard with instruments in general, especially ones that aren't really in like contemporary music outside of like because this is a good point to like say something explicitly that I didn't say, but like they do cool stuff with the guitar, they do cool stuff with the bass. There's actually some really cool bass moments, bass solos, and they do
there's
cool
definitely
stuff
some
with the
cool bass
drums.
moments, yeah.
But then they also do all the stuff with the wind instruments on top of that. So it's like you're just getting tons of technical like ear candy to work with.
Yeah.
And then I did call out too. I was like pretty sure you were gonna dig the lyrics.
Oh yeah.
So.
That was the lyrics were honestly one of the things I was most excited for you specifically.
Yeah, it's a really good lyric
too.
album.
Yeah.
I feel like I still could like go deeper with the lyrics, and I probably will at some point. You know, like delve even deeper into them.
Yeah, they're great.
All right, what did you predict?
I'm trying to remember.
You said your day will come.
Oh yeah, I did.
I probably actually might. I might actually.
This. I think I did my classic thing of like, okay, pick one of the songs
yeah,
that
you didn't
like as much.
I actually think I did like that song more than you though. So
but I think I actually was right on this one. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say you were like
this one more than me.
like it's not a top song, but like from you talking about it, I think I like.
Oh yeah, and then I picked them. They broke him down specifically because it grew on me so much, especially in this past listening session.
It's funny.
I was like, man.
Yeah. I guess I wouldn't do it. Yeah.
It was less that like you wouldn't like it, and more that it
grew on you so much.
Yeah, it grew on me.
It's crazy.
So
that song has the least plays on the album. On Spotify.
Like on Spotify?
Yeah, I never would have guessed that. It's so catchy. Feels really. It feels.
I know. It's great.
Yeah, I don't know what I would have picked as having the least, but.
Song we both will love. I'm pretty sure I put Toe to Toe.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I thought that was a gimme. I thought you would like that one more than you ended up liking it. Yeah, to me, Toe to Toe is like just yeah, I don't know. That's like at least in the
It's
past
a hook
when I've
song
showed
for you,
people
yeah. Like you think,
Streetlight, it literally is like the song I would like use as a hook.
yeah,
Go
makes sense.
fishing.
I did like it. I definitely liked it.
Yeah.
Just I don't know, that last chorus
I
just
don't
bugs me for some
know if
reason.
I think I didn't fill out the last section. So.
Oh,
Dude, I suck.
it's okay. I
Okay,
actually
wait. Let
think
me
this
let me
will
think about it for a second.
this
Let
will
me think.
actually be. Yeah, wait a minute. You must heard me talk. No, this will actually
Now
be
that we've
fun
already
for
had a
like,
full discussion, let me
cause
think
yeah,
about it.
cause I know, cause we're gonna do the second Ben Howard album next. You still feeling that one, or do you?
Oh yeah, I would love to do
Okay,
that.
cool. Yeah, so we're still gonna
Yeah.
do that one next. That it'll be fun to do the random thing. We'll emphasize now that like we both listened and talked for an hour and a half about Ben Howard, and that I feel like some of the predictions will be a little more. I feel like the predictions are pretty tough in this context when like I've never listened to anything like this before. I haven't listened to anything
Yeah.
like this before, but I know you like it a lot because you said we should listen to it. It's just like kind of a hard spot to be in. Whereas like with Ben Howard,
Right.
it's like, well, now I know what you thought of the first Ben Howard album, and you know what I thought of the first one, and
Yep.
I like this one enough to have said we should review it. So yeah, we have a little more to work with than like when it's
Yeah, that'll be
super new.
fun.
And like with Era, it'll be more fun, I think, to
Oh yeah,
like
because we
do
just
because we
both
have
like
already
Era,
reviewed
so that'll
Cure
be
and already know we like that band a good bit.
that'll be
Yeah.
really fun to do a new album coming out of a band we both like and have history with.
Yeah.
We haven't been able to do that yet, so that'll be cool.
Yeah, so next up is so we've done the Hands That Thieve. I mean, just do so we're doing I forget where we were by Ben Howard. And
Yeah, I'm
then
psyched for that. I've been still listening to
that's awesome. Yeah, I'm pretty
yeah,
excited to.
Howard, so yeah.
I'm actually just excited to listen to that album again. I think oh no, I don't think I told you that. I think did I tell you? I probably didn't. I probably withheld something. I probably have tried to withhold.
Mm.
Well, I'll just tell you that this album has, because at this point, like I like it. I think for the past in 2024 and 2025, this album was in my top 5 most listened to albums on Spotify. So
Wow. Okay.
it's like had 2 years running
Awesome.
of being up there.
Yeah, wait. That's actually that is crazy. I feel like I'm never that consistent 2 years in a row. That's saying something. Yeah.
It just has kept coming, and now I'll listen to it a bunch again. So who knows? It might make the
Yeah.
top 5 in 2026.
You have 3 years running. There we go.
Yeah.
Love it.
Is there anything else that you know? Yeah, obviously
Um,
we have Deer Hunter and Andres on here.
yeah, those
Still
two
feeling
I'm
those?
still pretty excited about you hearing
Okay,
at some
cool.
point. Um, yeah. Recently I listened to Blonde by Frank Ocean just the other day. Just had a little
Okay, that was
nostalgic
the one
trip
you
on
listened to. Yeah,
that.
okay, that's
Yeah,
oh,
I
yeah.
still think that one would be interesting to do. I don't know, like, I mean, it might just like totally not resonate with you. There's like a chance of that.
Yeah,
But it also might totally resonate.
I was gonna
with
say
you,
I
so
feel
I
like the thing it might not resonate, and I do know I listened to a little. There was that time where you told me to listen to like Agent Fresco and Frank Ocean and a few other bands, and I like got super into the Agent Fresco and still wish they'd put out another album.
Mm,
And I did actually like listen to a little bit of Frank Ocean then, and like it didn't like immediately connect with me, but like I think I listened to it like 2 times. I listened to a couple of songs, and I think the thing with
okay.
music that's beautiful and cool, I think there's a degree to objectivity to it, but I think a little bit of loving music is like deciding you're gonna like something a little bit or just giving it time, and like as long as it was
Giving it
done by
a
a
fair
competent
shot.
artist and someone
Yeah.
who's had something to say and had the talent to say it, like there's gonna be something you pull from it. So like I think by the time I listen to an album 15 times, like I'll get something out of it. Like I might not end up loving it. I
Yeah.
think the biggest example, I think the one that like so far of everything we've listened to, I think that the Knocked Loose album when I was like 5. I think I said this when I was like 5 listens in. I was like, I don't think I'm feeling this very much. And then I ended up getting really into it. So like,
Yeah.
but that one was like
I'm glad you
the
did.
biggest example of one that I was like, I would have given up on a long time before, but like kept
Yeah.
listening to it, and then was like, oh no, I actually do like clearly like a lot of these songs now. So
Yeah. Oh, you know what? I think one we could actually take off is that Calloused Boys album.
okay,
I liked it enough, but honestly, if I wanted at this point, I originally put it on there because it was new.
it was new. Yeah, I remember.
Out.
Yeah,
But if at this point, if I wanted to show you an album of theirs, I would show you
pick a different one.
their first full length, not that one. Yeah.
Okay.
So I think you can just.
Do you want to replace it with the other one, or don't feel like you care about it enough?
At this point, probably not right now.
Okay.
I feel like everything else that's on there right now is higher priority in my head.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pumped to listen to more Ben Howard. And I know we've been kind of alternating, so we can like tentatively do a thing you want to pick. I feel like we're now at the point where there's stuff I just like want to pick instead of like doing the wheel
I know,
spinning
yeah,
thing, which is
instead of doing
fun.
the spinner, yeah.
So definitely,
Yeah, honestly, those two that I have like in the
yeah,
current
those still.
queue are, I'd be
Yeah.
super happy to do either one of those.
Okay,
so.
well, let's tentatively plan for one of these. If you decide on one, we either could randomize it, or if you decide on one, you could let me know. I know this Ben Howard album really well. I still want to like really delve into it and review it. Listen to it from like the little bit more analytical. But
Yeah.
I think I could also potentially get a head start on one that you know really well. Like that I need more time to unpack too. I feel like it'll probably be a little bit before we do the next review. We can probably sign off now too. By the way, I'll end the stream. I think we can.
Yeah.
Any logistics we can chat offline. But so yeah, thanks for anyone tuning in. Hope you enjoyed our review of The Hands That Thieve by Streetlight Manifesto. If you haven't listened to much ska, give it a chance. A lot of fun.
Yep.
See you next time.